Hey everyone,
I'm Steph,
I'm Michael
and today we're checking out Andromeda's Edge.
from Lucky Duck Games.
Yeah.
This game plays 2 to 4 players and has a box play time of 40 minutes per player. So, thanks to Lucky Duck Games for providing us this copy of Andromeda's Edge, but they didn't give it to us in exchange for this video. They gave it to us because they know we like to play all the games. So, this is really cool exploration and civilization, I guess, spacefaring civilization building sort of game.
Yeah.
And after my one play, I really took to it.
Oh,
So,
nice. Yeah.
yeah,
There's definitely kind of a lot going on, but there's a lot to explore here too.
that's right. And this probably will take 2 videos, meaning that the teach is probably going to go over 30 minutes to get done with all the rules. So if you want to watch the playthrough, go ahead and click the link down below.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and get to this while I teach you all the rules. So you're going to set up the game board. We've got ours set up sideways because this game is super long and would have made it difficult either for me to have my stuff on the screen the way it needs to be because I'm going to need lots of room this direction. Steph's going to need lots of room this direction to place extra of these upgrade cards where we're going to upgrade the abilities of our civilization. So, um, for setup, it's actually the rule book is quite good about this. What you're going to need to do is to put the main board out, put the event board, this round board out, and place this orange event marker on the start space for your player count. The next thing you're going to do is to choose an event deck. So you can see it's 4 to 5 player, 3 player, 2 player. Did I say 2 to 4 players? This does actually say 4 to 5 players, but the box
Oh.
says 2 to 4. So that's
With some of the Kickstarter extras and expansions.
it's
We
possible.
don't. We have the regular edition, but there's other expansions out there. So.
So there are the game that the retail version of the game comes with 2 different event decks. Celestial Dawn and the other one, if I can find it really quickly, is called Cosmic Galactic Dawn and Cosmic Twilight. This one recommended the first time you play. This one super difficult. So keep that in mind if you decide to go for it right off the bat. Um, you are going to put the scrapyard near the board. You're going to separate out the 15 planet tiles. And the planet tiles are these that have just the planets on them with no extra words on them. You're also going to need to separate out those 6 with the words on them. Those are called alliance base tiles. You're going to take a number of planets based on player count. And for 2 players, we're going to need 4 planets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, you're going to just shuffle up the 6 alliance bases with however many planets you start with. Start up here in the upper left corner, not counting these nebula spaces, and just lay them out across the first row, down to the second row, onto the third row, as far as you have, as long as you have tiles remaining. You will have some other planet tiles remaining that are yet unused, but those will come out over time. So, shuffle up the 6 orphaned nebula moons. They are the gray moons that look like this. And you're going to put one face up in each of these 6 nebula regions. Then for each of the planets, you're going to shuffle each of the different colors of planetary moons and put 3 of each of the corresponding colors on the planet. So this yellow planet's going to get 3 yellow moons. Then you're going to put them onto this little circle in the corner because once all these moons are taken, the next moon available is going to just be whatever resource appears underneath. So, 3 yellow moons for this one, 3 blue for these 2, and a sort of coppery looking one over in the corner. Um, you are going to choose um, an S class Raider card and an A, B, C, and D class Raider cards. The S class Raider card has an S on it. The A cards have an A on it. Whoops, turned that upside down. Um, the the cards that come with the retail version of the game, I believe we have two S's, two A's, two B's, two C's, and two D's. You're going to need one of each of those letters. Uh, A, B, C, and D are basically where A is the easiest of the normal lettered ones. D is the biggest, most difficult to defeat. S's are super easy, but James says D is the worst. Exactly. The S stands for swarm. They get their power based on how much they can swarm you. So they're little, but there are lots of them. There is only one A, B, C, and D. Now, notice this is an S. This is an A. If you want to know how bad the D's are, this is a D.
He big.
Welcome to the mortality sphere.
Oh my god.
I know, it's really bad. So, there are four S-class ships and one of each of the others. You are going to roll two dice and place one S-class Raider standee on those nebulas. We rolled it for numbers 4 and 5. We are not putting them on standees because that way you guys can see them easier. Obviously, we're putting the C and D on standees because there's no possible way. He would cover up the entire tile that it was on. So, um, you're going to choose a length of game. For a short game, you're going to put the clear pink token on the 50 on the victory point track. Medium length game 60, long game 70.
James recommends 55 for 2 players.
Oh, really cool. I did not know that. We went 50 in a 4-player game and it was fine.
Yeah.
I did rush to that end as quickly as I could and inched over the line. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. So, shuffle up each of the 4 module decks that relates to science, technology, commerce, and civilization. You'll also notice that there is a 5th color here, and that is for supremacy, that red color there. You're going to shuffle up those module decks and place them in the marked spaces, and you're going to place one of these cards in each of the corresponding spaces below the decks. And all of those are going to go face up. Basically, these are on market offer. You're going to shuffle up all of the discovery tokens, which are these green tokens. And they'll show up as gray on the green screen. However, you're going to put 5 in each of these science marked spaces and 5 at the very top above the science track. You're also going to, this is the observatory discoveries spot. You're also going to need to shuffle up the supremacy tokens, and those are red. And then you're going to put one of them face up on these 3 spaces. First to reach those spots will get those tokens. Whoever comes along after is just going to get 2 victory points. Shuffle up the tactics card deck, which looks like this. Pile up all of the development cards by type. You'll notice that, for instance, let me not get a green one here. You'll notice that this is a city card, a city development tile, and its corresponding card. You're going to just pile all of those up in the corner. They are all the same, so if you are going to get one, they don't have to be shuffled up. They're all identical. And finally, pile up all of the damage markers and resources. You've got 4 resources in this game. You've got power, which again looks nearly invisible on the screen, but it looks like a little energy symbol. You've got titanium. You've got nanocarbon, and you've got ice. Finally, you've got credits. Credits can be used as a wild for anything except energy. So it can be used as an ice, as a nanocarbon, or as a titanium. So that is the main board setup. For player setup, each player is going to take a station mat, a player aid, and all of the playing pieces in their color. Um, the station mats are double-sided. They are identical on both sides. However, uh, Lucky Duck has made a really ingenious way of making it so if you have a lot of room on this left hand side, you can put your station mat like this. But if you don't have a lot of room on the left, you can turn it over and put your upgrade modules on the right. I love this. Gotta say, it's super awesome. So, the player aid is super awesome. Looks a little fuzzy there, but you'll see it's got all sorts of good information on it. So you are going to place 3 transports in your launch bay. You will have an additional 3 transports ready to go. Um, all of the ships look the same. However, they are not the same whenever you get your Empire's upgraded um, ships. They all just look the same on the map. So I can, at a quick glance, I can tell which of Steph's transports are actually transports, even though hers might have different abilities from mine. So, um, all of the other ships, I love these ships. You've got fighters and science vessels, which is very much like Star Trek looking ship, and a heavy cruiser, which is very much like a Battlestar Galactica type of ship. Really nice, detailed minis. You're just going to put each of those off to the side. You have not yet built them, but they are available to you. You'll eventually have a maximum of 6 transports and 1 of each of the other ships. You're going to shuffle up all of the faction cards and deal 3 to each player. Each player is going to choose 1 to keep. The faction cards are these nice long cards. Um, and you are going to gain all of the starting resources on the opposite side. So I get 2 energy, 2 nanocarbon, titanium, ice, and 3 of the tactics cards. So each of these empires has a different sort of ability on them and a special type of ship. My transports have special abilities that's called the Mycilinox. You're going to take the special upgrade tile for your empire and have it available. You've not yet upgraded your transports to be like this, but eventually that can happen. Steph's empire doesn't have an upgraded transport. You've got an upgraded science vessel.
Oh yeah.
So you've got 2 different science vessels
Pretty
that you
awesome.
can choose from. So you're also going to separately shuffle up all of the neutral ship upgrade types. So you've got all 4 of your different ship types. This is going to give each empire a little bit of variety. So I can upgrade my fighters to be one way. Steph is going to upgrade her fighters to be completely different. So if for I'll get to building these in a minute, but uh, it's important to know that if you happen to have a ship out here already exploring and you upgrade the ship, this ship that is already out there also becomes upgraded. So each of players going to take a track marker and place on the bottom of the progress tracks. Then you're going to advance one space for uh, every one of these diamonds up in the corner. I've got the green science and the brown technology track. Steph goes up on the blue and green track, civilization and science. Um, we are going to place one leader on each of the 6 alliance bases on the board. Each player is going to roll a die, place 2 more leaders wherever you roll in the nebula. I rolled a 6, so both of my leaders go here. Steph rolled a 4, both of her leaders go here with this cute little spore guy, the swarm guy. Your last remaining leader goes on your sheet. The leaders just look like this. Looks like a basically a little 1 by 1 Lego piece. Finally, you are going to choose a start player by simulating a battle. And that means to roll your dice, and then you're going to compare highest die with highest die. I happen to roll a 6 and a 5. Steph just rolled a bunch of 5s and less, as you can see from the board out here. So since she rolled no good 6s, I get to be start player. And I'm going to get to how battles work here in just a second. So, the start player starts off with 1 victory point. The second player starts off with 2. The third player starts off with 3, and the fourth player at 4, and so on. So, we're going to just go around and around in a series of turns. We're going to go clockwise until one player has passed whatever target you've set up at the end of for the end target. We're set up for a short game, and this is where Steph's one problem with the game is in that I took the first turn of the game when we played a 4-player game, and I took the last turn of the game because I was the one that triggered the end. And so that leads to unequal turns. If you decide to make it equal turns, you could set it up to where you play until everyone has had their final turn.
Finish the round and do one more round.
Just keep that in mind. So,
what would be fair?
So what happens is that once one player crosses that line, as the rules are written, everyone gets one more turn, including the person who triggered the end. So, if you wanted to, um, if you wanted to make it more fair, then just you'd have to remember who the start player was, and then just go one more full round after that.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you can see, there's all sorts of regions and planets and alliance bases and nebula. Whenever you take your turn, you are either going to launch or you are going to return to station. Um, Whenever you launch, choose one of your ships in the launch bay and place it in a region of your choice on the board. If you don't have any ships on the board, you can go, you're going to have what's called a first launch. And that doesn't just mean the first launch of the game, that's any time when you have no ships out on the board. So during a first launch, you can launch to any unoccupied region. If it has a raider, it is occupied. If it has a ship belonging to an opponent, it is occupied. So, but other than that, anything goes.
Like a development.
What was that?
If it's a development.
If it is a development, it is not a player ship.
Okay.
So, let's say that Steph has this city tile that she has built. Well, there's no cities on the board. Let's Oh no, that's an obelisk. Let's say that you had built this city here. We would put this out, and um, you'll notice that this is just shows that there has been a city that has been created here. The way that you show that it is yours is we just place it like that inside one of our transports. I'll get to that momentarily. But when this city is built, this is not considered a ship anymore, so it is unoccupied. So on subsequent, let's say I move to here, subsequent launches can be placed anywhere within range of where you have ships already. So if you will notice on any of your ships and the ones that are pre-printed on your board, you'll see that there is a range value at the top and a combat value over to the side over here. So this ship would have a range of 2, which means I can launch that ship. Let's say I had that defender. I can launch anywhere within 2 of wherever I already have a ship. 1, 2. The transports start off with a range of 1 and a combat value of 1. So I've got to go adjacent with these transports. So
But the second one is coming into play, it can go into an occupancy.
yes, indeed. You may here's the other catch. Let's say I've got one out here and I want to go here again. I am not allowed to go where I already have a ship. I can go where you have a ship. And spoiler alert, since this is going to be the active region, this is where we're going to have combat unless some game effect makes it to where you are not in that space anymore before the end of my turn. So, um, also, there are a couple of other launch requirements. You can only launch to an alliance base if you are able to activate it, and you do indeed activate it. So I can't go to the trade hub um, if I don't have any resources to turn into credits, for example. Um, I can't go there just to sit on it and prevent Steph from taking advantage of the trade hub. And the other launch requirement is if you are going to launch to a nebula, you have to have an ability called Voyage. Voyage is this little light blue ship with little sparkling stars underneath. That indicates that you can voyage. By default, the science vessels have voyage, but some of your special ships might make it so maybe your transports or fighters or your heavy cruisers can voyage. Unfortunately, mine cannot. So, um, the next thing you are going to do is to activate the region to which you launch. So let's say I launch to the shipyard. I can then activate whatever it says on this tile. So I can build a ship if I have the resources to do so, or I can perform a repair action. Repair actions take these little damage tokens off of modules and off of ships. Um, you'll notice that on some of these ships, you'll see that there are shields. The first time that a ship with shields is damaged, you're going to put a little damage token on it. The next time that the ship is damaged, you're going to place it over in the scrapyard. Or if there were no shields to begin with, you're going straight to the scrapyard. That doesn't mean it's destroyed forever. You will be able to salvage it whenever you return to base. So, also notice that some of these modules have a little spot in the corner. Those come pre-made with a little damage token those have to be repaired before you can use them. So, step one, launch. Step two, activate that region. If there are any moons on the planet, you can claim the topmost moon. Um, and you'll place it in the claimed moons area of your player mat. You can have no more than 4 moons on your player mat. For example, right here, you can see you can have a maximum of 4 moons. If you want, you can use the free action Abandon Moon on your turn in order to take whatever resource is on the moon. For example, let's take this nebula moon that I see here. That says 1 victory point and claim a tactics card. Currently, when I take this moon from this nebula, it's just gonna be over here in my normal moons area. If I abandon it, I get the resources on it. I don't get the resources while it is here. I might put this moon in my tactical operations area, which might give me a bonus when I lose a battle. I might put this token on one of my modules, like so. This says Mercenary Union. The moment I slot a moon into this spot, I'm going to get 2 victory points. Ta-da! Now, when I activate this module, I'm going to get what is on that moon every time I activate this module. That's pretty awesome. So, keep in mind, it's either a one-shot deal or it could be a permanent deal. There are also cards, these module cards, that will have a circle on one side and some kind of benefit on the other with an arrow pointing to it. That means you have to spend what's on the circle on the left to get the thing that's on the right. Alternatively, that circle may be on the other side. Spend the things on the left to get the circle thing on the right. So that's how moons are used. The third thing that you uh, need to do on your turn, and this is the by far the easiest thing to forget. We messed this up on our first game. If there is a raider next adjacent to the active region, then you're going to choose one. So if let me take that back. If there's already a raider in the region, the raiders are not going to strike. But if there is a raider adjacent, you're going to choose one class of those raiders and move them to your area. If there's a lot of S class, they're all going to come in. Um, Now, and that's if the raiders are in range of the active region. For example, this A class raider, this slasher, has a range of 2. If it is 2 away, it will come and attack you. So, raiders are bad news, as you can guess. And step 4 is to battle. If 2 or more opposing raider players and or raiders have ships in the same region, a battle must be resolved. And like let's say Steph and I and those S-class raiders are all in the region, we are all going to participate in the battle. The rulebook is really good with showing how these battles take place, but I will go over uh, those things with you. Now, keep in mind, only one class of raider can occupy an area at any one time, and you can never move a raider into a region where another raider type is already present. The S's can all be in the same area, though. So, um, if you have to place a raider because of event cards, which we haven't gotten to yet, but whenever events happen, that's how these raiders appear on the board. If it has to start in a random nebula, you roll a die and you place it there. Some of these raiders have a particular place where they start. This one appears in the shipyard.
What?
Yes, it pops up in the shipyard.
Rude.
Yes, whenever a new raider would be placed in a region occupied by a raider, you're just going to roll and place him in a random nebula. If the raider of the class is already on the board, so if we call for Raider B and Raider B is already out, instead we place two S class in the region indicated on their card. And if there are fewer than two, you just place as many as you can. So, after you defeat something like this mortality sphere, he goes back to his card. He could come back out later if he comes up again in the event deck.
Sad.
Let's talk while I'm at it. Let me go forward in the rules a little bit and talk about battle. So, as I mentioned, during the final step of a launch turn, the active region is the one where the battle is going to take place. Now, keep in mind, Steph could launch to an area, have some sort of effect that moves her away from the active region, and that means there's not going to be a battle because the active region she is left. Right? So let's say that you left me there with an S class raider. Until it's my turn, or until that region is the active region, then no battle is going to take place. Not just when it's my turn, but whenever that's the active region again. So, during battle, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to do something called escalation, beginning with the active player and going in turn order. If someone is in range, they can join the battle. And that includes players that are not already in the battle. So if I've got a guy here and a raider, and Steph is close enough and she wants a piece of the action, she can come join the battle. Or maybe she doesn't care if she loses because she gets some kind of cool benefit for losing. Or maybe she has a diplomacy card that says, the battle is over, I'm going to get all sorts of benefits. Yes, Steph did that, which is why she's laughing. Because that's the next step. Step 2 is diplomacy. Every player, starting with the active player and going in turn order, you can play one and only one diplomacy card. The diplomacy cards are always the ones that
They say diplomacy on it.
Yeah, they are the blue ones, I do believe, like this one.
Yeah.
Diplomatic immunity.
Yeah.
You can play exactly one of those cards. So, after I have said, like if I'm the active player and I say I'm not playing a diplomacy and Steph plays one, I can't then change my mind because my turn's already passed.
That's true.
The third thing you do is battle preparations. What you are going to do is you are going to collect a number of dice to a maximum of 6, and you are going to take all the dice available to you. You're going to take the dice that are up in the corner. You are going to take an additional die for every one of the developments that you have in the region adjacent to or in the active region. So if I had a city here and I was doing battle over here, I'm going to get an additional die just because I have a development near. I can decide to spend an energy to get an additional die. There also is something called a targeting value. Each ship has a targeting. Each player has a targeting value equal to the number of ships you have in that region. So if I've got 3 transports there, I've got a targeting number of 3. What this targeting number means is all of my dice will eventually roll a number that is 3 or higher. If I have 1 ship out there, I don't get a reroll. I just numbers from 1 to 6. It's pretty much all it is. But let's say I had these out there, and I had upgraded my transports to these rogue transports. Notice targeting number +1. So I am going to increase that targeting number by 1 for each of those ships. That means I'm pretty much going to be guaranteed to be rolling super high numbers. Now, whenever you roll anything that does not reach that target number, you pick up and re-roll again. Look, that's a really good roll. I've got 4 6s there. Anyway, the step 4 is to roll the dice like I did, re-rolling things that do not meet the targeting value. Step 5 is the outcome. So I'm going to compare my dice to Steph's dice. Oh, look, she's got a 6 there, and a 6 there, and a 6 there, and a 4 there. So we compare these, they're a tie. Compare these, they're a tie. Compare these, they're a tie. Compare these. Oh, I have beaten Steph. So, what's if a player wins, they advance 1 space up the supremacy track. And if any raiders were defeated, you're also going to get whatever reward is at the bottom. Anyone who is defeated can take the tactical operations bonus. Remember that tactical operations bonus is over here. Either it is this, whatever you get on this moon that you have slotted in here, or you're going to get a tactics card. Your choice. Finally, step 6, damage ships. All defeated ships will take damage. If a ship has shields, it will just put a damage marker on its shield spot, which is the little circles that look like shields for those sci-fi fans out here. Or if the shields have been depleted, all of the defeated ships go to the scrapyard. Whenever they are placed in the scrapyard, they're placed up here, not in the repair barge yet. If any raiders were defeated, a single raider in the active region takes damage. So if we had a whole bunch of these S-class raiders here, only one gets defeated, but you do get the full reward. The other raiders, the other raiders are going to just stay in the active region. And it's not going to cause any more trouble until that region becomes the active region again. Um, let's see here. Let's talk a little bit about each of the spots on the board. I believe that. Well, no. Before we do that. Well, we could do that. Um, Remember, the shipyard lets you build a ship or repair. Building a ship is going to mean that you're going to pay this amount of resources, and then you'll get that ship, and you'll just put it on your player board like so. This means it's available to be launched. This is your launch bay. So, um, if you repair, you can repair a spot on a ship. You could repair the shields, though these will be repaired automatically when you return to station. We'll get to that. You could repair damaged modules that have these little red dots in the corner. Anything that has one of these little damage tokens on, you can repair. If you don't have anything to repair, you can take a free victory point.
This is also the shipyard.
Oh, yeah. Also, let's say I've got 2 of my transports in the scrapyard. For every repair action, I can move it to the repair barge. That's going to be important for return to station. I'm going to get to that here very soon. So, the Maximus field and Odessa field allow you to claim these modules by paying a certain amount of resources. So, if I go to Maximus field, I can purchase 1 or 2 technology or science cards. Science generally takes the nanocarbon. The technology generally takes titanium. Anytime you see a gear just means any resource. Ice, nanocarbon, titanium, credits, energy, any resource. Um, the commerce takes only credits, which you can't substitute with anything else other than credits. And then on the far end, the civilization requires ice. Um, the further up you go, the more expensive the cards get. Now, if you decide to purchase only one of the spots, let me take a look here. I need to. I'm trying to find the exact rule on this. I believe the rule is if you purchase only one, you can take the other one and discard it. You won't get any benefits for it or anything, but you can just discard it. The things that you did not purchase will all slide down, and new ones will come out at the end of your turn.
I think you must.
You must do
You
it.
can't
I'm
choose
trying
not
to
to.
find that in here, and I'm
Yeah.
I think I found it here. Yes, choose the module. There are two different symbols for purchasing or acquiring modules. If you see the bar along the top, that means you have to pay the resource cost next to that bar across the top of these modules. If there is no bar, you acquire it for free.
And by activating these locations, you advance this.
But sorry.
By
Oh yeah. So anytime you activate a location that has this symbol on it, or anytime you play a tactics card with that symbol on it, you are going to advance this event tracker. When it reaches the end, we will talk about that. But once it reaches the end, don't go any further. Just put this on your player board just to let you know you've got to take care of that at the end of your turn. So, for every module you acquire in the game, you are going to advance up that progress track. So, if I'm looking to go up the green progress track, I'm probably going to want to purchase as many of these greens as possible. So, um, when I'm acquiring modules, like I say, I can get one or two modules. If you don't want to, Steph is correct. You must discard one module from the indicated column for the second module. You must buy one module before you can discard any. So I can't discard this, let this slide down, and get this for cheaper. That's not how it works. So at the end of any action where modules are gained, we're going to refresh the module columns by sliding them down to fill up the empty spaces. And this is done per unique module gain action. So
and you could take one green and one brown.
that is as far this X2. This is a slight slightly confusing part in the rules is that it's not exactly clear what if it means two of these or two of these, but what we have interpreted it to mean is you're going to get this action, this or this twice. So, and I believe that is the correct interpretation. When you when you purchase a module like this, you are going to set it just in your area like this. And you are going to put them from left to right. You can't scoot them apart and put something in between. Can you, Steph? I can't. I don't. I believe
No.
you have to place them each
Right.
to the right.
Right.
If there are any damage icons, you need to place the damage spot on there because you can't use that until it is repaired. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up a little bit so I can show off some more examples. Notice that whenever you're filling in the technology one, sometimes you will have a little half moon spot. whenever there are 2 half moons, then you can place one of your moon tokens on this. But actually, there is a way, because if you separate these two apart, then you're going to lose any moon that you've slotted in between. I do remember that rule, so I think there may be a way to move them apart. So, um, if a moon slot has any VPs printed on it, then you're going to get those VP only once when you slot the moon on it. Oh, yeah, there it is. If you rearrange your industry row, would you separate it, you must discard the moon. Um, you do not have to have this moon on here in order to activate these modules. We'll talk about activating modules here in a second, but if there are moons, then you will get a bonus when you've activated both sides of the moon. You're going to get whatever bonuses in the middle. So, in the trade hub, discard 2 resources to get 2 credits. And the Monolith of Ancients, you need to discard 2 resources to get 3 tactics cards. Keep in mind that your hand limit and your resource limit is a maximum of 5. With the exception of energy, your energy is a maximum of 10. Everything is on your player board. You can increase the number of tactics cards you can hold by advancing up this civilization track. Let's look at these tracks here for a moment. Why would you want to go up these tracks? In the science track, anytime you pass over the danger sign, you know what you do with danger. Get ready to move this event up. So, you'll see that there is level 1, level 2, and level 3 on these tracks. That is going to correspond with building these developments down that we have placed down here in the corner. Um, and you build developments by going to the development office. Talk about that here in a second. The first person to reach this level here is going to get your pick of these tokens. Second person that gets up there is going to get second choice, etc. So the higher up you go, more victory points it's going to be. The technology track. When you reach here, you'll notice that there's a little ship icon with a little placement. You get to place one of your ship upgrades, whether it be your generic upgrade or your Empire specific upgrade, and you are going to place it on your player board, basically replacing what you had. This heavy cruiser has a range of 1 and 3 dice. This heavy cruiser has a range of 2 and 5 dice. Much better. In addition, whenever Steph checked me on this, because I can't remember if this is my old power or the normal thing. When you create the ship type, you get a free ship.
Yeah.
That is still true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my power was whenever I upgraded the ship, I got some cards or something. So
yeah.
So yeah, and it will be ready for
You might have already built it, in which case you won't get a free one because there's only one of each thing.
That's correct.
Unless it's the basic.
And you do not pay the resources for it whenever you get it's a free ship. Yeah. So you'll only get 1, 2, 3 of these upgrades throughout the game, so keep that in mind.
If you go up the track at all.
Anytime you win a battle, you're going to go up the supremacy track. The first person to reach these spots is going to get the token underneath. The commerce track, whenever you reach the number 9 spot there, you are going to get is that a victory point for each
resource you have at the end of the game?
Yes, that's right. These any of the normal resources that you have at the end of the game, they're not worth anything unless you've reached here. That makes them worth 1 point each. Here, they're worth 2 points each. And finally, the civilization track. If you reach this spot, you'll get 6 card hand limit. And in addition, this is the best. You get to refill your tactics cards up to 6. When you get to here, hand limit of 7 tactics cards. So use them from your hand before that happens. So, um, let's talk about the development office. Let's say I have this out here, and the next turn I go to the development office. Um, in order to make a development, I have to A, have presence in that region with a transport. So the next thing that I have to do is I have to be able to pay this build cost. 4 ice is pretty expensive, but probably worth it. Then I will take the corresponding thing and pay a number of liters that is listed on the development tile.
It's also on the tile.
It's also on right here. You have to have those leaders on your board. Hey, how do you get your leaders? Notice these leaders. There's 1 leader on each of these alliance spaces. There's 2 off in the nebula. There's 1 on your player board. Whenever you are in a region, it's a free action to just take your leader from that region, putting it on your player board.
There's no reason not to.
There's no reason not to. Also, the moon, the claiming the moon, I would have done that, obviously, when I went here. So, now I've got a development. We usually like to hide the cost, and it gets it out of the way so that everyone knows there are no ships there now. It is just a development.
You get points.
So, each one of these developments has a one-time ability that you can use. Like this one is to, what is the city one, Steph? You choose any one available module and add it to your station at no cost. And then once you've used it, you're going to flip it over. All of them, like I say, look the same on the back. At the end of the game, you are going to score a number of points based on whether you made it to level 1, 2, or 3 of that track. There is levels 1, 2, and 3 on the civilization track. And there's one of these developments for each of these tracks. One of them gives you 4 energy. One of them turns 2 resources into 3. One of them gives you an observatory tile. And one of them lets you have 2 free repair.
Don't you also immediately get points for placing it?
Don't you immediately get points?
Based on the strength around it?
Yes, thank you for reminding me. Whenever you place a development on the board, you are going to score for adjacent leaders that are adjacent to this spot. So let's say I built this right now. You count the leaders that are on your development. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If they're in the nebula and adjacent, you score those. It's super important in a 4-player game because there's going to be leaders everywhere.
That includes like other development buildings, right? Like
yes. So if Steph had this observatory next door, that's 1 leader who has taken up residence in that development. So
James was wondering what the adjacency icon meant.
what is the adjacency icon?
What icon?
This icon is the leader's icon.
That is a leader's icon.
Yes. That is an icon that means leaders. It's also here on the player board.
I do wish they said you score for them when you build them, but that doesn't say it really.
Yeah, that's why I almost neglected to say. So, let's see. We've covered, to a maximum of 10 points on this development. If there's more than 10, like it is, you're probably going to have in a 4-player game, then it maxes out at 10.
Oh, here.
Where is that? Where what?
This.
Oh, is that what that?
Max 10.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Adjacent leaders, max 10.
So.
And yes, it is easy to forget that scoring.
Yes.
So, let's talk about triggering the event. Let's say this happened on my turn. When it reaches the end of the track, immediately reveal the top planet from the stack. Place it in the next available location, which we get a little bit of light glare on this. Place it in the next available location. Flip it over, place the moons on there, and then place the event marker on your board, letting you know you've got to deal with an event card at the end of your turn. Um, Whenever you resolve the event card, you're going to score some amount of victory points based on one of these 5 tracks. Each of these cards will say, hey, you're going to score based on the green track. Um, then you're going to place a new raider. Yay, we love fighting new raiders. There might be a special effect, and then you're going to reset the event track based on player count. All right.
These two, I don't know if you explained these.
Yes,
Okay.
I did. I did those.
They're really fast.
At the end of the game, I did mention the end game trigger with the points you're going to score, the victory points printed on these progress tracks. You're going to score points based on level 1, 2, 3 of your developments. You're going to lose 2 points for every damaged module. Oh, I forgot to talk about return to station. Let's finish up with the final scoring. You're going to score victory points for your unspent resources if you've gone up on this track. You're going to score any game end VP on undamaged civilization modules. Those civ modules are what mostly gives you those. You're going to score 1 victory point per leader left on your station, and your faction abilities might also give you other sorts of victory point abilities. If there's a tie, whoever has the most modules wins. Still a tie, most resources, still a tie. Then you have to share the victory. There are also destiny cards that you can use at the start of the game. Just deal out 2, and each player chooses one. All they're going to do is to give you some sort of thing to go for with relation to these tracks here. There are special areas called quasars and vortices that have special rules. We do not have them in our game here. There's also a 2v2 mode. So let's rewind a lot because there's one big thing I forgot to mention. Remember when I said the 2 actions you can take on your turn is to launch or return to station. If you have no more ships in your launch bay, you must return to station. But you don't have to do it then. You could, as long as you had one out on the board, you could do a return to station. Let's say I do have these out on the board, and let's put this guy out there as well. So, when you do a return to station, the first thing you're going to do is to activate modules. Let's say I have this guy too. He's over in the repair barge and he's in the scrapyard. So, during this step, you can activate these modules in any order. You cannot activate a module that has a ship or an energy on it. What you're going to do is you're going to take these ships and you're going to place them on here to activate things. So if I place it here on the treasury, I'm going to get 1 credit. That's pretty awesome. If I place a ship here, I'm going to get another ship or a repair. I could repair this, sending it to the repair barge. You can pull ships from the repair barge and place them on these modules. That is valid to do. If they're in the scrapyard, you cannot pull them from the scrapyard and place them on these modules. So let's say, no, I don't want that covered. If you place a ship on this primary reactor to get 2 energy, You can then activate any of the green ones that you want without placing a ship there. If you're out of ships and you want to use energy to activate a module, you can do so at the cost of 1 energy per module. So if I want to activate this spot that gives me 1 titanium and 1 nanocarbon, I'll place the energy here and take the resources. I cannot do this if there are no ships placed in this row. I cannot use an energy to activate this architect because I have not placed a ship in this civilization module row. Some of these civilization cards will just give uh, end game victory points. You cannot activate those modules ever. And as I mentioned before, if you activate both sides of a module with a moon in between, once both the sides have been activated, you get the moon benefit in the middle. So I think that should cover all of that. After you've activated your modules, just return all your ships to your launch bay. Get rid of the energy that you used to activate the modules. Anything that is in the scrapyard that did not go to the repair barge, those automatically come back to your station. And any repair spots from the shields, those automatically become repaired. Um, at any time, you can slot one of your moon tokens at any time. You can play a tactics card as long as the tactics card says so. And at any time, as we mentioned before, you could fetch one of your leaders. Or you could abandon a moon token or use your faction abilities. Um, there are other ship abilities. The the game rules are really good with talking about what those ship abilities are. I already talked about voyage and targeting number. The transports are the only ones by default that can populate. That means they can make one of these uh, developments. The only two that I did not mention is the fighter attack ability, which during a first launch, they may launch to an occupied region. And finally, jump. When this ship launches or moves, you can spend an energy to give it infinite range. That's all the rules. Hopefully, I covered everything.
I mean, we'll see. It's definitely a big game.
It's a big game.
But hopefully that gets you started.
I mean, at its heart, it's not too difficult. Launch or return your ships. Everything matters with how you acquire everything and how you handle the combat.
It's definitely a tight resource game. So
Very tight resource game. So when we played the first time, we were like, how do we get and maintain these resources? So there's going to be a lot of deploying, call them back, deploying, call them back. But to me, that's fun.
yeah. So we're excited to show you the game. So if you enjoyed this teach and playthrough, you know where to find us.
On YouTube. Just look for Board Gamer Steph. Or you can join us on twitch.tv/BoardGamerSteph, where we stream live every Wednesday and Sunday night at 5 p.m. Central, and we stream 3 games or more every single stream. So come join us on Twitch, where we play all the games.
And for those on Twitch, we'll be right back.
Pew, pew, pew.